This evening is Monday, October the 24th. It is 5:30 p.m. And I will call us to order and ask that we be led in a moment of prayer by Commissioner Denise Terry.
Please pray with me. God Almighty, we thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. We ask that you help us to act with character and conviction, to listen with understanding and goodwill, and to speak with charity and restraint. Give us the spirit of service. Guide us to be the leaders our people need. Help us listen with humility, open minds, and spirit. Renew our spirits to appreciate the joys of helping to build a community worthy of the human person. In your goodness and love, amen.
Amen. I have the pleasure of asking one of my teachers, Mr. John Zinner, to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. You didn't flunk me then, you can't flunk me now.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
He's also my teacher, and I have all my fingers.
Hey, you did the woodworking thing, didn't you? I did small gas engines. I still know how to take them down, put them back. Okay. Commission, I would like to offer an amendment to tonight's agenda. I'd like to put in front of item 1 an introduction to our new planning and zoning director, Michaela Gary. Would that meet with your approval? All right. With that said, ma'am, welcome. Up here, front and center.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm Michaela Gary.
I'm sorry. My bad.
It's okay. It's spelled a little weird. So I'm the new planning director here. It's great to meet you all. I'm really looking forward to working with you guys, and anything you need, feel free to reach out to me.
Tell us of your experience.
Sure. I have about 7 years of planning experience. I started out with a couple of years of grant administration type work. Did several years of municipal planning experience with Georgetown Scott County. Did a year of transportation planning. I've been with the ad for about a year and a half doing comprehensive planning experience, so kind of a wide variety of planning experience, but it's all been good. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Anything we can do to help you make the adjustment here?
Not at the moment. Just I hope to get to know all of you, and I look forward to working with you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you
Great.
being
Thank you,
here and
guys.
look forward to it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Wow.
You skipped hear the public.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah.
So let me back up and do hear the public, which I should have done before. This is the public's opportunity to take 3 minutes at the microphone and address the commission on any item that is on tonight's agenda. We'll do the same thing on any item later that is not on tonight's agenda. Do I have any takers for hear the public? Going once, going twice. We'll move right on to item 1, Economic Development Corporation update. Former Commissioner Terry Crowley.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I update you, I want to make an introduction. I think you all know that we've hired a workforce development specialist, Mr. Harold Nally, and he's with us here tonight to say hi to the commission. Comes to us from a number of years in HR with Morehead State University and other places, and he's in his fourth week.
Starting my
Fourth week. So, and he's been quite busy. Would you like to say anything?
Welcome, sir.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, and likewise, I'm looking forward to the opportunity of working with folks in the city and the county, and I'm very excited. I took this job. I knew that Danville was a special place, and like I said, I'm really looking forward to working with the community, and so with that said, we'll get to work.
Tell us what you think you'll be doing.
Well, I think a lot of it too, as far as initially, is just building relationships and getting to know the community and somewhat the needs. I look at this as a very collaborative position as far as bringing people together, looking at as far as the community and what are the skills needed as far as the whole community to try to fill these critical positions in that, whether it's manufacturing or whatever that might need be. So I see that as a big task, and I see it as far as all of us coming together and working in that realm.
Any questions?
Have you met the school superintendents?
I have met one. I met the Danville, and I've got a real long list of people to go see, and it keeps getting longer. But I'm looking forward to that, really am.
I was thinking that we have an underutilized community college here that I think that would be a good, and I'm sure you have.
Well,
Got
there-
that on your list anyway, because I
that's-
think, we're just not using it to its full capability.
I think there's a lot of resources and there's a lot of energy in the fact that I do have a higher ed background and kind of know the folks there, and so they're high on the list, as I say.
Good.
So,
Welcome.
Thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Nobody cares about it.
We're glad to have, yeah, sorry. In the way of an update, I think most of you know there's been a reorganization going on. And one of my jobs is to kind of see us through that transition. I'm happy to tell you that the board of directors of the corporation has met and elected officers. The chairman is Mr. Brian Husley is with us tonight. Rob Cowell of the airport board was elected vice chair, and your own Jenny Holland is the secretary treasurer. The other board members are the judge executive and magistrate Cullen, Jerry Carter from the Boyle County Industrial Foundation, Kathy Miles, and 9 of them. John Roush, who is with the Economic Development Authority. So we've got a strong group. Oh, the mayor is also a board member.
Thank you, Terry.
Sorry about that, Mayor. Yeah.
Who's first?
So I look at this kind of as a kind of a new starting point, because now we've got the structure, it's in place, the board's in place. We've also got the advisory council, which is 17 or 18 members strong. Commissioner, the education superintendents, as well as Dr. Nahouse from the BCTC are on that advisory council, along with utility members and a wide variety of other folks. So, it's a good start. It's a lean board that should be much more agile to get our business done. Our staff, we've maintained the current existing standing committees, with the exception of what used to be called the executive committee. That'll be a decision the board can make if they want to have an executive committee. But we have a committee for finance, one for workforce development, which Harold will be guiding. We've got an asset development committee. We've got marketing and recruitment, and then we've still got the task force for affordable housing. And those were all confirmed by the board. They set a regular meeting date of the third Wednesday of every month at 4 o'clock at the Craddock Center. So they are now in the process of formulating the search for a permanent full-time executive director, which thrills me a lot. But things are going quite well, and I think our first board meeting was very positive. Everybody brought something good to the table, and so I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. But at this point, if Brian would like to say anything.
Just thank you to the city and the county and everyone that's been involved in this. It was a fairly long process to get us to this point, over a year since the executive director left, right? I think 14 months, going on 15 months. And I think we're in a really good place to start working together in ways that haven't been feasible, I guess is the right word before. So thank you. And as I said, a long process, but well worth the time to get it right.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and-
Questions?
Any other questions?
Well, I just wanted to thank all the former EDP folks and the EDA and the city and county for working so long to find the best fit and the best compromise. And I'm thrilled. It's off to a great start. All 4 groups went to the Economic Development Symposium to kind of kickstart a united front. And I think we've come together to be that one voice. So thank you.
Well, thank you all, and we look forward to collaboration and cooperation. I think those are going to be the keys going forward, and we're going to see some good things. So thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
So, give you all an idea of kind of the tone and pace we're trying to set. We had a meeting a week ago, Wednesday, where we said we're going to have a meeting with county HR, city HR on Friday, which we did this past Friday. We told them we needed a job posting, we needed a job description. We're going to meet this Wednesday to review the job posting, and we're going to post that job Friday. So we're rolling, we're moving, and that's what we need to do. Item 2, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting being October the 10th, 2022. Chair will entertain a motion for your approval.
I'll move.
Thank you,
Approve the minutes
Commissioner
of
Atkins.
Second.
October the 10th.
Mr. Cottle, thank you very much. Any discussion, changes, amendments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 3 is the second reading of ordinance number 2002. This is a zone change for 0 St. James Place. Do I hear a motion for the second reading?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. Second.
Second.
Mr. Holland, thank you, ma'am. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Madam Clerk.
You have to roll call.
Oh, that's right,
Permit.
sorry.
Have her read it.
This is the second reading of ordinance number 2002, an ordinance changing the zone from R1A, single-family residential, to R1C, single-family residential, for approximately 37.424 acres, more or less, of real property located at 0 St. James Drive in the city of Danville. Commissioner Cottle,
Yes.
Commissioner Terry,
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
Yes,
Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins.
Yes, ma'am.
thank you. Item 4 is resolution number 2022-10-24-01. This is with respect to surplus of IT equipment. Ms. Rader?
This is just more IT equipment that we're going to surplus on Gov Deals.
I move to pass resolution 2022-10-2401 as submitted.
Thank you,
Second.
Commissioner Atkins, Commissioner Terry, thank you. Discussion?
Got some antiques on there.
I'm in the market for a new cell phone.
No other thoughts? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 5 is resolution number 2022-10-24-02. This is the authorized positions list amendment. Mr. Boyd, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So staff is recommending a revision to the authorized position list, primarily for the police department. Currently, we have authorized 40 positions, but we're requesting to increase that to 41 positions. The reason behind that is to add one more to patrol officers. Now, the approximate cost of adding that position is roughly $90,000, but that cost will be offset from the revenue that's generated from the school resource officer contracts. And so it really won't have any increased expenditures to the city. What that will do is it will take your certified numbers from 38 within the department to 39. And part of that reasoning in my discussions with Chief Gray is that we've reallocated, tell me if I'm wrong here, Tony, 3 SROs which have taken away from patrol, and that's why the need for this change. Okay, so I'll entertain any questions you have.
Do I hear a motion for the resolution?
Move for approval of resolution 2022-10-2402.
Commissioner Cardle, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Terry, thank you. Discussion?
Sounds good.
Chair call the question. All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Item 6, city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor Commissioners. We had a pretty light update for you. We had a lot going on over the last couple of weeks, as evidenced by Friday's symposium. We felt like that was a positive, had a lot of good information to share. The 4 speakers did, and we appreciated their willingness to come and share that with our community. And felt like that was a success. We hope everyone had a positive experience. Things will start getting back to normal. We've been saying that last time too, but now that we're past that especially, we'll get back to normal work list. Staff
You want to tell
met-
us what normal is?
Yeah, I know. That's why I was just sitting there contemplating as I was saying that out loud. It's not really fair. The downtown parking enforcement, we've talked about that a little bit. Staff is met with together, and we've looked at the parking garage. We've gotten into the information on our side, and so we're actively working on that just to follow up. Waiting on the audit still. There's work demand issues in that industry that is apparently hampering the final production of that. We are waiting on the planning and zoning update. We had a chance to meet Michaela Jerry today a little bit, and we appreciated her openness and her dialogue that we had. And we are looking forward to her working on both the comp plan update with Kelsey. She understands that we were trying to facilitate good public interaction with that work, and then also with the planning and zoning work that ZoneCo is developing. We will follow up with her and include that on that information as well. So we're glad she's here, and we will keep right on going. Any questions for me?
No questions?
Thank you.
Very well. Thank you, sir. We'll move into the section that I promised earlier, hear the public, opportunity to address the commission on any item that is not on tonight's agenda. Do I see any takers? Yes, sir. Hi, Kendall.
Good evening. About 6 months ago, the CVB board approved a sponsorship for a TV show called Downstream, and we started working with them back in March to come up with some ideas for the episode on Boyle County in Danville. They came in brass band weekend, did some filming in Perryville, downtown during the festival. They also did some filming out on the Dix River around Dunn Island. And now the episode has been completed. It's been turned into KET. And before it's shown on TV, we're going to have a premiere here in Danville, the Norton Center. And it's open to anybody who wants to come. It's free to attend. It's only a 30-minute episode. It's Saturday, November the 5th at 5 p.m. So should be in and out within like 45 minutes or so. That's it.
I'm glad they got to Harrington Lake before it drained. It's a mud pit out there now. Hey, Kendall, I think last time you were here, I said, can we see a budget of the CVB? Don't forget us on that, would you?
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So my name is Sue Andres, and I live in Colonial Heights. And there is a water leak on the city side that we have been reporting for. We've reported to the water department multiple times in the last 4 months. It's enough of a leak that water is actively running down the street in multiple places on Ridgeview Road. And so we just kind of like to have some idea of why that's not addressed.
I will look into that tomorrow morning, first
Okay.
thing, and get you some feedback. I'll get
Okay.
your phone number after the meeting tonight, if that's okay.
Okay, it is up at the top, the back end of Ridgeview Road.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Here comes the Queen right here, Queen Calhoun. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
my name is Margaret Calhoun, and I'm reporting, weekend for last, they had some teenagers down there at the Michael M. Smith Memorial Park tearing up kids' little seesaws and turning over the porta potty. I have pictures. And when we get the park together, I would like cameras. So y'all can see who's tearing up the park. I'm trying not to let that happen anymore if we get everything together. It'll be a better restrooms down there, but right now, Josh done took the porta potty away for the winter. And that's nice. I didn't know they do that.
So,
And they down there after hours, after 12 o'clock too. They go down in that little bridge thing and hide, whatever they doing. It's not enough lighting over there where you can see everything.
so Chief, I know you can't have your department everywhere all the time. I think this is one of those cases where the residents there are going to need to speak up and take care of some things.
Well, I called the police. They ran off when I asked the boy to pick the potty thing back up. He took off. But when they came back, I called the police, and the police went over and talked to them. They ain't been back.
Good.
But it was set up like it should have been, but then I noticed it was gone. So Josh told me why. I didn't know. Can I have my phone?
No. That's a nice phone we're keeping.
Yeah, we're gonna confiscate that. That's a legal matter with pictures and all that.
It's
I
now,
got all kinds of pictures on there. I'll come over that way and get it.
it's now evidence.
Thank you, Ms. Calhoun.
I guess you'll be requesting a badge next, right?
Shoot, I'd give her one.
Well, not a bad idea.
Let her do a citizen's arrest.
Good job keeping up.
Anyone else? Seeing not, we'll move right into commissioner comments. Councilor Pennington, I think you have some folks you'd like to introduce.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 4 members of Troop 326 Boy Scout, Abel Goodwin, Henry Pennington, Oliver Londecker, and Jacob Earl, who are here observing you all and working on various requirements. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you for being
Yeah,
here.
glad to have you.
He said one of them was.
Thank you.
I thought they were your bodyguards. I didn't know. Yeah.
So 326, let's go down the line there. What's your rank?
Oh.
Okay, you?
Life Scout,
Good.
first class.
All right. There you go. Moving on. Well, enjoy it. I did it 2 years, and it's some of the best times. And do y'all still go camping?
Oh, yeah. we do.
Good. A lot of fun.
We went backpacking this summer, almost 3 weeks in Mexico.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
And didn't ask the commission to join you? Man, wow.
Next summer.
Vincent, you didn't get lost? Were you there with them?
That's why they were there, so Vince didn't get lost.
That's why he has them.
That's part of it. You got to read the compass, don't you, guys?
Yep.
Welcome. Glad to have you.
Definitely get lost.
Yes.
Look forward to you all developing your lives and your career going forward. Scouts will do that, you know. Any other commissioner comments?
Well, I'll thank Earl and Ashley and Melanie for helping with the Economic Development Symposium and bringing in the 4 speakers. They were really good, so thank you.
I want
Say
to,
the same thing, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, I attended the Paints for Pets event Saturday. Great weather, great attendance, and hopefully raise a little bit of money for the what?
Humane Society.
For Humane Society, yeah.
yeah, what you ready? We're waiting on you.
Too many pipes.
Came to my mind was a dog pound. I don't say that.
Too many pipes there.
Yeah.
Great activity, though.
Josh, our crew that's doing Main Street could not be any more conscientious and polite and pleasant. And they're out there this morning at 6 a.m. just like they are every morning. And they're coming across some interesting surprises now, but they're handling them very well. And, you know, I hate to say this, when they're done, I'll miss them. They're good guys. They're good guys. Anything else? One
Can we-
last, go ahead.
Can we talk about the December meeting schedule?
Yes, we can.
I'm going to be out of town on the December 12th, which is typically our last meeting. And I'm asking if we can shift that to the 19th. We typically cancel the second meeting in December, which it's the day after Christmas anyway. In attempting to have one meeting in December.
I'm good
And
with it. I don't
And
know
it's a
about
work,
anybody
it's a
else.
work thing, so I hate to miss the last meeting of what will be mine and the mayor's very last
Yeah, 'cause
meeting.
if you do, we'll talk about you.
I don't have a problem with it.
I'm good.
I'm good, just, it's fall, it's not fall, it's winter break, so I'll make sure everybody else is here, so.
Jake?
Yeah, it doesn't, I don't know that will impact us
Yeah.
directly.
Oh, I'm
You know,
fine. I
We'll have
gotta
sufficient
give-
staff here, that's for sure.
Give staff more time, really.
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
we'll have staff.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Just the
Just the
19th.
Just the 19th.
Cancel the 12th and keep the 19th.
Canceled 12th and keep the night,
And then
and
we'll
make it the
cancel the
19th.
second meeting of the month also. So we'll only end up with 1 month on the.
We
one
always
meeting
cancel
on-
that last meeting, but we always end up having a special called meeting.
Invariably, yeah.
So
seems-
maybe if we shift it to the 19th, we could get everything in without another meeting in December.
Only reminder would be that, of course, that would make it a special called meeting, so the event that staff has additional items that aren't properly on the agenda, we need to be prepared for another meeting if necessary.
After the 19th.
Perhaps,
Right.
if things weren't adequately on the agenda for the 19th.
Yeah. So do you have to, do we have to do a resolution or anything for that?
We do.
That's
So
what I
we
thought.
would have a resolution at your next meeting to cancel the regularly called meeting on the 12th, and, which is not a big deal because we typically have a resolution that cancels the second meeting, so we can just cancel the first and the second and schedule a special called meeting all in the same resolution, if that's the desire of the commission.
I appreciate you all indulging me.
I also need to ask Earl, you and I talked, I don't know, a week or so ago about various properties that we were going to clean up and acquire and that kind of thing. Where are we on that?
They are all in process. I know we had a draft agreement that we worked with Stephen on, we got today. We're in process with all of those. Can't really give a more specific update until they're processed with.
And I know I was out of town, may have missed the newsletter.
We're working on another one. I think, Melanie, what was your target for the next newsletter? Did you have set one yet? I can't remember. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So that's our target. Yep.
Before you move on, I wanted to announce about the Frank X. Walker Literary Festival. It's going on Monday through Friday this week in our K-12 schools. And I wanted to call to the attention of the public that Frank is going to be at the public library tomorrow night, Tuesday, doing a presentation about his comic book collection of heroes. And then Thursday night, he's going to be at Danville High School in Gravely Hall doing a presentation about his most recent poetry and most recent writings. So come out to those 2 nights and enjoy Frank, a native son who continues to come back home.
And tomorrow night is the forum for the mayor's position.
Yeah? And commissioners. And commissioners too, yeah.
price will get you in both.
Anything else? Move right on then to item 7, payment of bills. Chair will entertain a motion. Payment of bills as presented.
I'll move for approval of the bill list as presented in the amount of $377,546.60.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Terry and Holland. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 8 is resolution number 2022-10-24-03. This is a chemical bid award. Carrier, what was yours?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is in relation to our annual reception of bids for chemicals for both the water treatment plant and the wastewater treatment plant. If you look at that sheet, there should be 8 items. The first 7 are for the water treatment plant. Those are relative to like water clarification, taste and odor, that type of stuff. And then number 8 is for the wastewater plant for phosphorus removal. This is just the annual bid that we receive for these chemicals.
Do we hear a motion for the resolution?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2022-10-2403.
Commissioner Holland, is there a second?
Second.
Carl, thank you. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the resolution, say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 9 will be resolution number 2022-10-24-04. This is a contract amendment with HDR. Continue on, Mr. Carrier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This agenda item is in reference to contract amendment number 5 regarding the work at the Tuggle water tank on Tuggle Road. This is for contract administration and construction services for HDR for the total of $3,358 to get to the end of October.
Hear a motion for the resolution.
I'll offer a motion.
Commissioner Atkins, second.
Second.
Don, thank you. Discussion?
Does this mean this is finally almost finished and ready for use?
Yeah, well, it's actually in use now. We've got water in the tank. But we're doing some punch list items now. We actually had a project team meeting this morning with both the contract administration, HDR folks, as well as our construction contractor. As of right now, the termination point of the contract is the end of October. So we've still got some punch list items to go through, like I said, and should be good.
I just want to thank you and staff for your diligence on this. I'm not sure everyone realizes the magnitude of a new water tower. And it's been, how many years since we've had a new tower? The one out on the bypass was the last one, right?
Yeah, 80s,
Like, yeah, 30, 40 years ago.
84, 86, somewhere in that
And-
range, probably.
And how much that's going to improve service to that part of the county. And so thank you all for having the foresight to do that and getting it done, so.
Okay, thank you.
Any further conversation on resolution? Seeing none, Chair will call the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 10 is the downtown streetscape update. Morgan?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just want to give you all a quick update. We had our monthly progress meeting this afternoon for the streetscape project. As the mayor said, we've got good crews out there working. They've been really flexible, which has also made it really difficult for us to provide updates about what's going on because we're actually being pretty fluid about where they're moving once they complete tasks based on weather or we're really talking to property owners about how we're affecting their businesses. So it's been tough to plan out what we're doing as each week. I get a 3-week look ahead from them, but we're hearing a lot of questions about the holidays coming up. So we're going to try to nail down a plan for the holiday season from Thanksgiving through probably New Year's. That way that folks can prepare for that and be aware of what's happening and not stress about will the parking spaces in front of their business be gone during their peak shopping season? So we've got a couple more things we need to answer before then, before we can put that plan together. We've got some materials that we're waiting on. Granite curb primarily will drive some of that conversation. It's supposed to show up this week, a good portion of it. If that shows up and they get some work started with it in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to lay out a plan. So we're looking at a November 9th meeting to get together and start putting that plan in place and have that advertised out to the public by the middle of November so they can be aware of what the holiday season is going to look like. I mean, our real goal is to not impact their business as much as we can, which means, you know, we're going to have access to everybody's front door by then. All the front door sidewalks will be done. But it's really about parking spaces, especially for our shops that are on Main Street. So we're going to do everything we can to keep all the parking in those areas open. So we're going to try to stay on some of the side streets, stay on some of the corners. There's not as much parking on the corners. They're usually further away from our primary shops. So like I said, we'll put a good plan together and have that ready for them. But in the meantime, as you can see, they've completed the duct bank for the overhead electric on North 4th. The next step is for them to start on South 4th. We're trying to lay out exactly where that's going to go on South 4th at this point, is in the sidewalk where the curb is, kind of out the street. We've got some utilities we did to confirm their location, water line, gas line running down 4th Street. We need to confirm their locations before we decide that and move over there. They started on the drainage on Main Street. If you've walked down through there, you've seen them putting in the trench drains, some underground pipe, and some of the inlets. That'll be ongoing for a while down Main Street. But if we can get the granite curb in there as well, we can start doing the work that goes between the granite curb and the sidewalk they're pouring. So that's going to go over the next couple of weeks. The big thing to look for next weekend, they're going to grind up all of the striping on Main Street and put new striping down, temporary striping down, to squeeze the road in a little bit so they have more room to work. They're not going to close any lanes. They're going to try to do this without shifting traffic or closing lanes. They're just going to squeeze everything down. They're going to squeeze the center lane down. That's what that's really the primary thing they'll be doing.
When's that, Josh?
They're going to do it the night. They're going to do it overnight, the 29th and the 30th of October. Is the plan right now that I found out today. So that'll be a big change to look towards, and that'll really enable them. As you can see, as they're putting in the drainage now, they're tearing up more of the road, which it's making parking more difficult in the areas they're working. Once we restripe, there'll be space for parking even with the work they're doing. So that's really the goal, is that they'll be able to continue to do the work on the drainage and the new curb and still be able to have space for people to park along the side. So that's pretty much all I had tonight. Any questions?
Is that instead of some of the scheduled road closures that we were going to have?
The initial plan was to go from 3 lanes to 2 and take out the center lane and just shift through traffic in one of the lanes over into the middle. So they'd have plenty of room to work. They're saying instead of doing that, they can work under the circumstance where they just squeeze everything down and keep the 3 lanes, keep the turn lane in the middle, which really will not mean, it'll keep Main Street flowing just as it normally does.
Thank you.
And we appreciate the patience on North 4th. I know last week with them having to cut across the road, there was some traffic backups, but I think everybody was fairly patient with us.
Hold the thought on the resolution, but while I have the floor, you and I were talking earlier about the crosswalks, the signage, the confusion. You want to talk a little bit about that with respect to last week? Maybe the chief wants to address that as well.
Concerning the
young man was confused.
the accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the details. Chief probably knows the details more than I do.
We had a pedestrian accident again Thursday or Friday, I can't remember. Friday last week about 3 o'clock. A juvenile, 13, was struck at 3rd and Main. By accounts of the witness, and he was just running across the street at 3rd, running southbound toward, from the mayor's office, roughly toward Farmers Bank, and the car was going eastbound, I believe, and he was struck by that vehicle As far as I know, there was no major injuries. But, you know, that intersection is still an odd intersection for a main street, in my opinion. But it's a little confusing there still. And I think, you know, it continued to take time with the what we got going on with streetscape and some other things, you know, that's just just not the best intersection. Just the buildings are so close to, up to those points of the intersection, so you don't leave much leeway to see pedestrians before they enter into that intersection.
I mean, I think that the hope of the streetscape project is that it will help with some of these issues. It's not going to prevent people from walking against the signal and getting struck. But if it puts signage in the appropriate places, which it will do, if it, the curb bump outs makes the crosswalk shorter, so you're physically in the street a shorter amount of time. The bump outs slow traffic down from a visual standpoint. It feels more constricted. You're going to slow down. A combination of all those things may not prevent every collision, but hopefully it reduces the amount of them and also reduces the injury. Speed, especially for pedestrians, it is an exponential rate of injury based on speed. You can survive 15 mile an hour getting hit by a car. You can't survive 45 mile an hour. So it's, speeds are a big deal. So if we can slow people down, if they've got better visual cues, if the pedestrians have better visual cues, hopefully the streetscape project will help with some of these.
Do you think if they took Third Street from Main down to Walnut, made it two-way, do you think that would solve a lot of issues?
I think there's pros and cons to it. I think it does clear up some of the confusion, but it also creates two lanes going through, which increases speeds. And also it's more for a pedestrian to, it's like the issue we have at MLK and 4th with the crosswalk there. Crossing two lanes of one-way traffic is a really dangerous situation. And so I think I don't know, there's things that we can talk to the state about that. That would be where we'd have to start that conversation and see what they'd like to do. But yeah, it would definitely clear up. But like I said, I think with the streetscape, you're going to see a vast improvement of how just a sense of safety downtown from a speed and visual standpoint.
I've been meaning to mention this for a while. Traffic seems to get backed up down 3rd at Walnut, and then that backs it up again at Martin Luther King. When doing all of this, will that sort of cycle out also, or is that a light timing thing, or what?
I think it's a couple of things. I think the split phase that we did at 3rd.
Tony's saying no.
Yeah, I think the split phase we did at 3rd for pedestrian safety, which has helped. That's just the traffic pattern there now, and I think with increased traffic numbers, especially coming out of COVID, I think that you go look at 2nd Street. It's the same. It is extremely congested, especially that afternoon from 2 to 5. Those two streets going northbound. It's not necessarily southbound, and then a lot of that turns west onto Main and causes the same backup on Main. It's just a heavy traffic congestion during that time period.
That feels like a capacity conflict for sure, and I don't know how you can. Yeah, you would have to think about that a little bit. That's more complicated to resolve. The conflict is not necessarily impacted by Maine. I don't know. You'll have to get into the math of that and really see.
It seems like, though, since the turn arrow and the longer light at 3rd and Main, it seems like that's when the backup, south on 3rd kind of started.
A lot of times you can link those. What you're seeing also, and I'm not sure if we have data on it, but the Walnut Street population is increasing, and that's causing more demand east and west at 3rd Street. which is causing more red time for northbound. That's an anecdotal observation too, because we don't really know. I mean, I don't necessarily, I've not looked at the traffic count on Walnut, but I would say that traffic on Walnut is increasing for different reasons.
You think that's
but
construction on Main Street contributing to that, because people are avoiding it, or you just think it's?
It was like this before. Earl and I have talked about this quite a bit ever since I came back. Like it feels like that third, it's even that third turning motion on the main, the left turn on the main going west, like that is just heavily congested in the afternoons.
When we did the East Danville connector evaluation, remember QK4 downtown model, remember we looked at some of those things. The design firm that looked at that East Danville connector for us indicated that downtown, or not just downtown, our economic activity is stymied a little bit because of the lack of north-south connectors, right? Which is why the East Danville connector is so critical for our local economy. And that's not necessarily clearly understood because folks just see it as a street or they just see it as a road. And we have poor interlocal economic activity from the north side of town to the south side of town because you have to deal with this intersection up here. And your truck traffic, for example, when they leave the quarry, come through downtown because there's just no obvious path around. And so that bypass that is internal to the other primary bypass on the east side will be critical to the interlocal economy. You really don't see a benefit from an exterior bypass on the east side. So that north-south connector out of Ghost Pike that the state has been developing a concept of provides an overflow for that traffic. And you'll start to, in the natural movement will be a shift out of that area onto that connector when constructed.
And the truck traffic would shift to that?
You
I've
would
seen
see
several trucks trying to turn.
Trucks would naturally migrate to that because of the simplicity of their turning movements.
Yeah, it seems more and more it's happening. Trucks are northbound on Third, trying to turn left onto Main. I don't know why
Trucks
they're.
downtown are not, it's a challenge for them. And with the streetscape and the things like that we're trying to accomplish with pedestrian safety downtown, we need to have an alternative route aside from downtown. The eastern side is where the pressure for that is. And so we know Wilderness on the east side isn't effective either because of the curve in it. And we in evaluating that historically, there's no easy fix there either. And so, yeah, it's an issue. And we're seeing an increase on Walnut Street, east to west. That's impacting northbound movement as the load is increasing in all directions, really through downtown.
So we submitted a plan to the state. We need to follow up on that plan for that north-south piece.
Mm-hmm.
Safety is key, flow is key, economic development is key, and I know that you will continue to marshal your next commission and mayor to really focus in on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because next year is going to be critical to make sure that it gets over the hump and gets going.
And that would be a little bit of pressure on our state representatives as well.
Yeah, we have to follow through for sure.
Thank you.
Did we secure those initial funds to study the East Connector?
The city funded the initial study to develop a concept.
Okay.
We provided that concept to the state for them to analyze versus the eastern bypass. The eastern bypass is much longer, requires more extensive Clark's Run crossings, which drive the cost up appreciably. You're looking at a savings doing the East Danville connector probably in the $50 million range plus.
Right.
And so the state shifted their planning focus to the interior connector, identifying the benefit of it. On the east side, we don't really have a strong population coming to Danville from the east side to go north. They tend to go north on 27. If you have folks coming from the east, they've already turned north before they get here. So an exterior east boulevard doesn't help our local economy It doesn't really, and when you get into the benefit cost of it, the cost is so high compared to the benefit, whereas an interior road is one-fifth the cost of that bypass just in terms of mileage. It's much shorter and provides a direct economic impact to city function as an entity.
To say nothing of safety.
To say, yeah, you're taking a lot of load off of the intersection of downtown. Folks that are just trying to pass through downtown can access the southern side that way, so that you get folks trying to go through downtown with a purpose they desire to be downtown. So therefore, they're naturally going slower than those crossing across Main Street, just trying to go south to Walmart.
Just trying to get through town.
Correct. Yep,
The state did allocate $2 million.
correct.
For further development.
Yes, and so yes, you're right. So to conclude that we had a group go to Frankfurt, and we worked with Secretary at the time, and they did dedicate design money for that road, and that's underway now. I'm not sure it's complete, but I know it's close. $2 million. Yes, sir.
Is that 34 and 150? Is that 34 and 150?
No,
Goes Pike?
Goes Pike part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you on that.
Okay.
Yeah, the 34.
Post pay. 34.
Well, got us off track. I'll take responsibility for that.
That was good stuff.
Do any further conversation about item 10, streetscape? No vote is necessary there. Item 11 is resolution number 2022-10-24-05, Hoffman Sidewalk Design Fee. Morty.
Yes, we had a public meeting, what was it, 3 weeks ago, maybe almost a month ago. We met out at Hogsett School to talk about, we put door hangers up, we put signs out in the street. We just wanted to get input from the community that lives around Baughman about what they thought about sidewalks. We had a really good turnout. I think we had over 40 people squeezed into the room, a standing room only. A lot of passionate opinions about the sidewalks on Baughman, and mostly positive. We had some that were concerned about how we were going to build these sidewalks and how much of yards we were going to take up with the project. But I think someone there said we've been trying to put sidewalks out there for 42 years, as long as they've been living there. So I think what they really wanted to hear from us is we were committed to putting sidewalks out there, and I think we had a good conversation about the city working with folks about their concerns, working through being flexible. This doesn't have to be the same rigid cross-section the entire way. We can be flexible with width. We can be flexible with placement. We've got a lot of infrastructure in the way that we'll have to work around. So we're gonna work with folks. We're gonna figure it out. Palmer Engineering, Stephen Sewell was there at the meeting with us. He brought down some boards for people to look at and talk to us about their locations. So they've provided a scope and fee to us to do the preliminary drawings and cost estimate for the construction of sidewalks. It's in the amount of $57,000. That's a big number, but the majority of it, $34,000, is just the survey work that this will take. So this will be an extensive surveying project to go to each property and determine the right-of-way location on each one. So that's the majority of the cost is the $34,000 for that, but the total amount is $57,000. We'll just be out there talking to people about their each yard and figuring out where we can put the sidewalk, and hopefully come back to you all with a good preliminary design the folks on the street promote, and that we'll have a cost estimate at the time so we can look at moving forward. In the meantime, we're looking for grants that can fund this project. In my mind, this is a slam dunk project for a grant to fund. Yeah, there's a lot of pedestrian safety grants for that suit this project very well. Our consultant sent us a list of like 40, and we've been going through and looking at each one when they're due, what if they fit this project. So we're trying to find the right one to apply for, because we feel like this is definitely something we can get funded with grant funds. If not, like I told the folks out there at the meeting, I'll have Public Works guys out there pouring sidewalks as soon as we can get a layout determined, if that's what we have to do to get it done, because it's a big safety issue out there.
How many people are not in favor of it?
I've probably had 2 or 3 that weren't, they wouldn't say they weren't in favor of sidewalks, they just weren't in favor of losing part of their yard for a sidewalk. We'll say it that way, so. I think just listening to folks and hearing what their concerns are and trying to be reasonable with them will go a long way.
Are you, what section are you trying to get done? Or are you just gonna try to do it a little at a time?
I would love to be able to go all the way from Houstonville Road to probably down by the creek by the trailer park entrances. That's the,
That would be
the trailer park, both of those lower entrances on both sides, south and north side, they feed a lot of the pedestrian traffic that walks up Boffman now. So I feel like if it's gonna meet the goals that we want it to meet, it needs to go the whole way.
Yeah.
Now, we talked a lot about, is it both sides or just one side? If I can only do one side, we can do one side, but I would love to do both sides. I mean, otherwise you're promoting, the side of the street you don't do it on, they've got to cross, and then you have
Right.
another safety issue that you're dealing with. So yeah, I think we would love to do both sides, but like I told that group, we'll be flexible. We're not going to let perfection get in the way of doing something that needs done.
The timing of the improvements is important too, because when you're looking at how long it takes to actually accomplish some of the other pictures that we're looking at, like the road, the East Danville Connector, Boffman Avenue, the need for the community to have traffic overflow onto Boffman will only increase necessarily, though, and that will be a good thing for downtown and for other areas where you see high congestion. It will provide an alternative route from your new connector over to 4th Street. So getting in front of that with improvements, pedestrian improvements now will make it safer in the future.
One lesson we learned on East Main sidewalk construction was that we just started building sidewalks where we could initially with the hopes that the others would fill in until we at least got to right away, and that's exactly what happened. So once construction commenced, the others that were kind of the holdouts did end up participating when right away wasn't accessible.
Yeah, you got buy-in.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know, at least on the Boffman Avenue project, this is a project that we've had files on that way predates me. I think it probably is not exaggeration. Jimmy Sheehan probably had files on this. I mean, I know Ed did and Vince did too. We've cleaned out files for years and found documents relating to this project. But there's always been a handful of people that have withheld the entire project or made it hostage. And so I think our lesson moving forward is that you just start constructing where you have buy-in and hope that the others fill in.
I thought Mike's former teacher could take care of all those who are opposed to this project, right? It sounds good, though. We've talked about it for years.
I think we did.
No, it didn't.
No?
Do we hear a motion for resolution number 2022-10-24-05?
So moved.
Second.
Third. Third. Any further discussion? Chair call the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Item 12 is resolution number 2022-10-24-06. This is with respect to a design fee for Hilldale Shelter. Particularly proud of this, Josh. Go for it.
Yeah, I just talking to Ashley, I had some sketches of the design. I was hoping to get the packet, and I don't think they printed out very well for you all to look at. I'll try to we'll get an email to you all so you can see them. The cemetery committee's been looking at sketches for months. This is one of those times where we finally had to get the architect down here with us to pick out, to listen to the cemetery committee and come up with a design that they were supportive of. But we've got a good design, kind of a preliminary design that they're on board with. So we're ready to put together construction documents for the Hilldale Communal Shelter. The total scope and fee from Carmen Landscape Architects is $17,000, and that also includes fee from an architect to do some of the detail work, and also from a structural engineer to design the foundation. So that's a very reasonable fee at $17,000.
appreciate you doing that. Do you hear a motion for the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Ma'am, discussion? And then chair call the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Man.
Carried.
Thank you all.
That is the extent of our agenda for the evening. Do we have a need for an executive session?
Yes, we do, for litigation, property acquisition, and personnel.
For the sake of efficiency, do you want me to read that into the record?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Yes, please. But, go ahead.
So the floor should be able to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss pending litigation for which discussion at this time would compromise litigation posture pursuant to KRS 618101C, and is to discuss the potential acquisition of real property for which disclosure might affect value pursuant to KRS 618101B, and to discuss personnel matters pursuant to KRS 618101F.
So moved.
Motion's made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. And for clarification, to Commissioner Atkins, we just did this in 61 minutes.
You did good. Welcome back.
In regular session. I move to conclude the employment of Michelle Gossard effective immediately. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Is there anything further to come before us this evening?
Yes, have an ask that you accept the letter of resignation for Wesleyan Wright from the fire department. Last day was 10/27.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Staff is asking, or we are making a recommendation to hire Tyler Satterley to the position of firefighter. I struggle with that
Do we hear a
sentence.
motion?
So moved?
Thank you.
Second.
Second, who said that?
I did.
Thank you, ma'am. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Is that it, sir?
That's it. Thank you all. I
Do we hear a
appreciate it.
motion
Move we
to
adjourn.
adjourn?
Second.
Motion made and seconded.